I'm Simone and I'm a creative director at Ortolan.
And I'm Quigley. I'm the managing director of Ortolan.
And I'm Kat Macleod, creative director of Ortolan.
Well, I think digital has changed graphic design a lot, and the mediums that we're working in. It's now website, social media, apps, rather than print or more traditional mediums, and that's changed the nature of the work a lot. I think a lot of clients now, it's almost more about content and quantity and producing enough stories rather than one beautiful piece, or you've got to consider it across all these mediums and with new technology rather than creating, say, a beautiful print piece or a one-off.
Yeah, I think, one of the main reasons we started the business was to be happy at work. So when the three of us got together, the main focus of the business was actually the culture before a lot of the other things. And I think possibly other people might come at it from a career point of view and think, oh, this is the kind of work we want to do. We were really focused on doing beautiful work, but a lot of the reason for running the business in the first place was so we could run a business the way we wanted to work, treat clients the way we wanted to be treated. I think for us, culture is quite high up on the list of important things, and having the internal culture of the studio be happy and nourishing and really productive. I mean, obviously the work and the clients come first, and that's, well, actually they probably don't come completely first, equal first with the happiness of our staff and each other. So I think that that's different to anywhere I've worked previously, or perhaps it may have been the intention of other studios I was at, but I didn't feel it get filtered down necessarily. Not that I had horrible experiences or anything, but I feel like our work is quite unique in that culture does definitely top the list of priorities and our values. And we have spent years talking about our value system as a business, and the three of us, our values and how they will trickle down. And we always make sure that, staff feel really important. Yeah, I think that's probably quite different.
Well, it has changed so much. I mean, the first thing I think of is even how we didn't really use email that much when I was in IBL at 3 Deep, which was the industry-based learning year. Communication has changed so much since the year 2000. So that's one thing that springs to mind, because we rely so much on, email and to do all our communications. And then from a more design point of view, even things like going on the photo shoots back then when I started in the industry, it was all film cameras and marking up physical proofs and
choosing off proof sheets.
Yeah,
with the loop.
Yeah,
it's changed so much to now everything's digital cameras and.
The timelines have changed so much with that too. They were much longer lead timelines, and now people want an edit the next day after a shoot. Yeah,
even your drawings must have changed too, mustn't they? With vector, more vector than they were, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. With everything's even that's like a lot more instant, and using programs to live trace illustrations and. To use for, window decals or something. That's everything. It seems a lot faster now. Although I still do, hand draw and still love using the tools and, doing things by hand.
We did history subject at Swinburne with Denise Whitehouse, and I think it's really important in any field really to know what's come before you. I think to be an expert in your field, you sort of need to know the history and the reference points that have led you to where you now find yourself. But I think it's just also an important thing to have recorded as well.
And everything comes around again, doesn't it? You sort of
Yeah,
need to
it
know where it
does.
began.
Yeah. And it's like when you study art, you would never not consider studying art history necessarily, or having all those references like Renaissance and Impressionism and all those movements. I think it's sort of similar in design, but perhaps not treated quite as significantly. But there are still those sort of style movements and things. Yeah.
I do think that these two have contributed, definitely. I think Kat's illustrations have become really copied, referenced a lot. I think that her style's definitely referenced a lot. And I think that in an era where we probably came out of that era where there was a lot of Helvetica and minimalism and, around us, and really corporate-y Swiss kind of design, I think that we really went into a maximalist probably area. And I think Sim's imagery also has such a beauty that I think is often lost at the moment. I think lots of the work that we do has the potential to just be like a digital landfill and getting stuff out there. But I think these two managed to still retain a real beauty in the work rather than having any kind of let's just get it done sort of attitude. They still both really craft things, really make sure it's beautiful, and it's quite a strong aesthetic, I think. And it's just care. You can tell that there's lots of care. And I think that has definitely been something that other people would try to emulate. I don't know if we've made a contribution to other people in the industry. I'm not really sure. I couldn't comment on that. But I think definitely from our perspective, we've worked very hard at making the environment supportive for a work-life balance. We make a real effort to not take on too much work. This last fortnight accepted, probably. But generally speaking, we don't just say yes to everything. We try to make sure that what the jobs we say yes to can be done within really respectable working hours. We never have all-nighters. We don't really work late, ever. We have families, and we really value spending time with our families, and we appreciate that our staff have that as well. And we do believe that the best work from people comes when their time is respected. We have no interest in keeping people at work until 10 o'clock at night. And if we do, then I think that there's something wrong. It shouldn't have to be like that. We don't believe it should have to be like that. So we would much prefer to say no to jobs if it can't fit into those hours where everybody can do their best work. I don't think anything really good comes of after 7 o'clock at night anyway.
I think it's also the way we work, because we work in a slightly different process to how we've worked in previous studios, in that we really go on a journey with the client. Yeah. So we tend to take them in smaller steps.
Yeah, baby steps, isn't it?
Yeah, rather than work and present this giant piece of work that they've actually had no buy-in on. So I think that actually saves a lot of time.
It's a lot more bite-sized, so we can do a burst and then show them, and do a burst and show them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does have an impact.
Yeah, so we don't overwork things too early. Yeah, we try and
be more collaborative.
Yeah, be a bit more collaborative.
Yes, I bought a few vinyl records from my collection at home, and I bought these sort of as a symbol of music and the importance of that to me as a designer, and how I bought a few of my favourites, like and it's also a symbol of design, as well, like cover art, beautiful, with like iconic imagery or illustrations by my favourite illustrator, Julie Verhoeven, and like old Beatles that I listened to when I was as a teenager, or old Simon and Garfunkel, and with
crazy
cute
time.
I think to me it's about the combination of the arts as well, like music and design encapsulated. I feel like a vinyl cover encapsulates that really well, because it's such a beautiful big piece of design. And music is just so inspiring, and so I find it really influential. And we listen to it all day in the studio. Not vinyl, because we'd have to change it every 15 minutes. But
we've come into the digital age.
Yeah. But as a piece of art, I just think vinyl covers are so beautiful. Yeah. And
the whole idea of siphoning a sound into a piece of flat art is so great.
Yeah, that's it. And and also just
this one's really funky.
Well, and all the memories and everything that is shown, it's sort of a time capsule a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that show was called A Hidden Place, and we came to the idea of that theme because neither of us loved being in front of the camera or sort of having our face in the public, arena, and preferring the work to speak for itself a little bit. And so, at the exhibition, we actually created a hidden place within the space, which was made with colourful streamers and sort of like a space you could go and feel away from everybody, but was still really beautiful. And that we thought that felt like a nice little safe place within this big gallery, which was quite scary to have all your work on display. And the works, they were all, we actually brainstormed a whole lot of themes with the idea of hiding, like physically things that you can hide your face with or your body with, like scarves and masks and things, and came up with a whole lot of ideas, and we wrote them on paper and put them in a bowl, and each hand picked out two. And
it's very strategic.
Yeah. Well, we had to create some inspiring way of, making each piece. Yeah. So each piece we'd pull out two words, and then that would be the two words I had to create my work with. And we actually swapped the pieces over so that each of us worked on them. And it was just this really harmonious kind of nice way of working.
Well, it was a fairly long, I'm not sure if project, it was more like lifestyle, I'd say, rather than project. It went for 11 years. I had a blog with a friend of mine under the pseudonym of Mitchie, and it started in 2001, a long time ago. And we wrote 3 books as well. And I think part of the pseudonym thing was that there were 2 of us, but to write together, we didn't want to write as 2 separate people. So we invented this character and we wrote as her. But mostly we invented her because we could get away with a lot more, we felt. I think that Mitchie could say certain things that I would never be brave enough to say as myself. Somehow I could rationalise it if I wasn't using my name, and we hid behind her. No one knew who we were for the first probably 4 years or something. It was pretty secret for a while, not on purpose, just that it wasn't something we really wanted to claim. And I don't really know if we would have it would have been quite nice if it never came out, really. But once we started publishing books, we didn't have a choice. Penguin, pulled us out. Yeah, they needed an author, and it had to be, our names had to be on it. But for a while when it was just digital, it was really nice to be hiding behind her. And she was cool. She was really sassy and funny, and I wouldn't probably have felt like I could be that naughty.
Well, I have this photo. Can you see it? It's me painting, and I guess I brought that along because as a child I did spend a lot of time painting and drawing. It was always my, the thing I was best at primary school. I was pretty bad at everything else. And not only that, I think we grew up without a TV, so there was a lot of time to kill.
God.
So I was
so much.
like a really, really big into drawing and crafting and painting, and I was encouraged, but not that my parents ever said, this is what you need to do. I just was, I enjoyed doing it. And then I actually went to a more academic high school, but I still really loved art and kept art as a subject. And then I think I was in year 11 or 10 or 11, and a girl that I admired above me was applying for graphic design, and I didn't know what graphic design was. So I went to the open day.
Awesome.
And thought that looks really fun, and I think I'd like to do that. And yeah, so then I actually had to do a extra course in Year 12 to have enough work to show for an entry exam, because I didn't really have a graphic design folio. So yeah, it was just for someone else who told me about graphic design. I didn't really have a clear idea.
I wonder what would have happened if you never met her. You might have been a scientist or something.
Lawyer, doctor.
It's funny, I don't think I ever was really thinking about what I wanted to do until it was getting close to when you had to put preferences down and, you know, the last few years of high school. And then I went to an open day and
Thought that'll do.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I did some extra work after school to try and put together something. And I actually got a B letter, so I wasn't in straight away. So I had got into...
I've never heard this story.
Haven't you?
No.
So I then got into TAFE, and I was going to do another preparation year. And so then I said to Mum, I'm not going to go to my interviews now because I've got into TAFE. I'll just do that. I don't want to go to them. I was all nervous. And I think she let me not go to RMIT, but Swinburne, she forced me. I think she... it made my dad take some photos because I had to put slides in, and then drove me and said, you are going to this interview. And so I got a B letter, and then once your scores came out, if you got an okay score, they let you in. So I got in, Well, actually I did the IBL program, that's what it was called then. So in third year I went into industry 4 days a week, and I was with Andrew Hoyne Design. So that was a really good experience in terms of getting a taste of what it was like. And then you went back for fourth year. And then in fourth year, I actually won a prize, which was 2 weeks' work experience overseas. And I went over there and did my 2 weeks. And the woman I did 2 weeks with said, do you want to stay for the next couple of months? And I did that. And then she said, my friends are looking for a graphic designer. You should go and see them. And then I ended up working for them. And after that, it was just one thing led to another. So, and I think that's often what it is, like 2 weeks' work experience sort of set the path. Yeah.
It's not like that for everyone. Some people are not very good at their work experience and you don't want to keep them. You were good at it.
I was just really lucky.
Or really talented.